What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So I got asked in the comment section last night. I did a video. Let me correct that. Last night I did a video and I said, let me know some of the things that you'd be interested in me talking about. And I was kind of like looking for stuff that I either had been asked before, had been asked frequently, or was asked a few times last night. So one of the things that was asked is something I've been asked before, right? And I've kind of answered it, but not with these particular groups. Shout out to the Puerto Ricans. Shout out to the Cubanos, right? So I was asked last night, what happens to Cubans and Puerto Ricans when they enter the California Department of Corrections, right? And there's not a lot of times when that happens, but there are. I've been on a yard. I think every yard I've been on, there's been a few Cubans, a few Puerto Ricans, right? For some reason, I feel like more Cubans than Puerto Ricans. But in all honesty, it all boils down to the same. If you were from another state, you have a decision to make. When you're in the county jail, you're going to start hearing of how things are. When you're in the county jail, you're going to make a decision of what you want to do. The Puerto Ricans and Cubans can run, I think it's not other, but like non-affiliated, something like that. I don't even know what the designation is, but they won't house with Southerners or Northerners. They'll house with other dudes who are in the same housing category, right? I do know homies that were Puerto Ricans. I do know homies that were Samoan, that were Cuban, that were it's a melting pot. But vatos that are righteously like, nah, I'm Puerto Rican, homes. That's just me. Like I said, they run with the non-affiliate. Same thing with the Cubanos, right? And when it's time for war or whatever, they're not part of the factions involved. They don't get involved. I've never seen an incident where the non-affiliated or I don't know what the designation is, but where like the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans got off on the yard. I've never seen that. They're not somebody that anybody messes with. I've seen where they like to drink and they will just make their own drink. And that way they would avoid getting into any drug debts because they're not using drugs. They wouldn't get into any debts over alcohol or moonshine or anything because they're not buying it. They're just making it themselves and partying, right? I do know that there's been instances. I know for a fact it happened in the Pelican Bay riot on the basketball court during the big riot in 2000, where some homies rushed a dude who was Cuban, but they didn't know. They were new to the yard and they didn't know, and he was one of the black Cubans. And so when they rushed him, he just backpedaled and he yelled, "Hey man, he just yelled, hey, I'm a Cuban, I'm a Cuban." And then they stopped and they just changed direction and went, looking somewhere else. And, whatever happens in a riot happens. But they're not targeted. I know in other systems, like I hear about this heart check thing I know in Florida, I know they do it. And I think in Texas, they do it, the heart check thing. They don't have that in California. They don't have it for reasons, California is very political. Everything is based off of a gang, right? And whatever crew you run with, they decide how they find out somebody's heart. If you're a Southerner, you're going to put in some work. I mean, maybe if you have a year or two to do, you're not going to land anywhere serious. But you hit one of them serious yards, one of them level 4 180s, you're going to have an opportunity to show everybody what level you're at, right? Everyone's going to do. I never met, I take that back. I think I met one Southerner in my life that never did any stickings. And it was because he always had the bag, and I used to roast him. I used to clown him. I used to tell him, you ain't a homie, Holmes. You're the dope dealer, but you ain't a homie. Like, you haven't established anything yet, you know. And he would get butthurt, but it was what it was. It was the truth, and the truth hurt him, but not me, right? And I've said in other videos that I was of the belief that not everyone's a killer. Now, with the Southerners, there's no such thing as dead weight, so everybody has to do something. If you're doing time and you're doing serious time, you will do a pegada at one point, but after that, as long as you keep your nose clean, there's other things that you can do to maintain that occupancy, maintain that bunk that you're holding, because there's a lot of dudes waiting in other places to take that bunk who are willing to do a lot of shit, right? The Puerto Ricans and Cubans, I remember them playing basketball and stuff. They played. I don't remember. They would play on the black side, the black and other side. They would play on that side of the basketball court. I don't remember them ever playing handball. Then again, I don't remember seeing a lot of them. You know, maybe there'd be 5, 6 of them on a yard holding 1,000 men. And if there were more, I didn't notice, because it's not a group that gets into it with anybody. They do their time. They mind their own business. They do their time. And so you're not going to really be focused on them. If there's some tension in there, then you're going to know exactly how many are on the yard and where they live and everything else. But that's just not a group that's looked at like that. For those that are going to ask, there are Latin kings in California. However, they have nothing to do with the Chicago and New York idea. They are from Southern California. They're in LA. And so they fall under that umbrella. And so they don't, if a Latin king from Chicago or New York were to land in California, again, it would be, who does he want to run with? If he wants to run Southerner, he's going to run Southerner and do that his whole term. If he wants to run Northerner, that's what he's going to do. If he wants to run the non-affiliate or whatever it is, I'm pretty sure it's non-affiliate, then that's what he would do. Nobody would be on the yard like, hey, what's about those Latin king from Chicago? Like, it doesn't matter. There's already so much stuff going on that nobody's trying to add more people to beef with, right? A lot of people don't understand, as far as the raza, well, as far as the Southerners, the ability to make money is the priority. Not going and beefing with this group or that group or whacking that dude. No, whacking people, that comes with the territory. That's just part of that world. That's the justice system at work in that world, you know. But there's a lot of people that seem to think that the Southerners are always trying to get into it with somebody. People say the Southerners try to bully different groups. That's bad for business. I've mentioned where whenever I was in a leadership position, I would make it a point to talk to the blacks and let them understand, hey, there's new people here. As long as I feel that we can communicate and we have an established, well-established line of communication, we will never bump heads. And we never did. Not in times when I held a leadership position. I never bumped heads. There was never a riot with the blacks. Because I understood the priority. The priority was making the yard secure, and making it to where money can be made and things are taken care of in-house, and whatever obligations outside of that regarding money are taken care of. Those were the priorities. Those are the things important. Going to war is a failure. You lose the yard for however long the lockdown happens. You're not making money. Everyone's miserable. And for the Southerners in those times, that's when people start paying attention more to what other people are doing. That's when people start wanting to pencil whip each other. Nowadays, with everyone out, it's a different game, because you are nobody. Unless you're a legend, you are nobody to be worried about what the next man is doing. You just do what you're supposed to do, what's expected of you. So anyways, hopefully that answered the question. And just know, so if when I answer this question, when I say, look, nothing's going to happen to you. If you're a Puerto Rican or Cuban and you come and you decide you want to run non-affiliate, you run non-affiliate. That's what you do. If you choose to run Southerner, then you follow those rules. You choose to run Northerner, you're going to follow those rules. If you choose to run with the blacks and you look like one of the white Cubans or Puerto Ricans, or you look more like Raza, you will get jammed probably everywhere you go. Like, hey, Holmes, where you from, man? And you're going to have to establish that, you know, because you're running with the blacks, that, hey, no, I'm Puerto Rican, you know. And 9 times out of 10, people will be like, orale, he's saying he's Puerto Rican, he's Puerto Rican. Because then we get into the whole sticky thing of and this is before there wasn't going to be a Mexican Crip or a Mexican blood on the yard. It was going to turn into something. Now, before I go, the way I explain this goes the same for if you're from New York, or you're from Chicago, or you're from Arizona, you're from Texas, any other state, and you land in California. If you're from Europe, when you hit the system out here, you're going to make a choice on who you're going to run with. And then that's who you're going to run with, period. California doesn't do the whole, hey, Holmes, you need to get down with these 10 dudes, Holmes, so we know if you're down or not. Nah, we're going to find out. Believe that. California just has more focus on business, making money, finding new ways, finding new streams of income. The dudes that are really on another level out here on the prison yards in California, they are money makers. They are money generators. They are always creating new ideas, new ways, new means to get dope, to get money, to get things moving. That's what's impressive out here in California. Not how many people you've killed. Not where you're from. It's what you bring to the table. So I'll end that on that. Hopefully that answered the questions, and any other questions regarding any other state, ethnicity, whatever. Hopefully that answered your question, man. Everybody, please be safe. Be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out.